So be specific in what is your niche, inside of your marketing. If you do hair extensions within like 30 seconds, I should know that you prioritize and specialize in hair extensions.
Just let go of trying to crack the algorithm and focus on your target audience. You're going to save yourself so much headache, and you'll begin to actually start creating content that you love if you're talking to the people that you want to be sitting in your chair.
And welcome to another episode of the Big Money Stylist podcast. I am here with Crystal. We haven't done a podcast in a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
And I was like, you get your butt in there right now. We're talking about social media and marketing. What you guys don't know is Crystal is my salon manager, but she also manages a majority of our social media. So her and I are always going back and forth with what's working, what's not working. We train a lot of hairstylists, and the common question is my marketing's not working, or I need more leads, or things like that. So we wanted to do this specific podcast and just try to add a little value for you guys based off what we're kind of like seeing in the marketplace, specifically for hairstylists. So take us down the road, Crystal.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like social media in general is ever evolving. It's always changing. We're like, how do we catch up with the algorithm?
Yeah.
Guess what? You're never going to. So just let that go. Stop trying to catch up. Stop trying to beat it. Stop trying to like do anything surrounding the algorithm. Right. Instagram never wants you to crack that code. And they're constantly changing. Like even just little things, you'll notice you open the app and you're like, oh, this is different. Yeah. Like we were scheduling posts the other day and all of a sudden it was like, you've reached your allotted scheduling posts for today. You can schedule more tomorrow. I'm like, excuse me? Like, when did that happen? They're not sending us emails like, here's all of the changes to Instagram. So I would encourage everyone who's listening to this podcast, if you are a hairstylist and you're trying to market your business, please just let go of trying to crack the algorithm and focus on your target audience. You're going to save yourself so much headache, and you'll begin to actually start creating content that you love if you're talking to the people that you want to be sitting in your chair.
Don't you feel like the algorithm is like, it's almost like an excuse though?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, well, it's the algorithm's fault. I'm like, well.
No, I think it's because you posted one time in the last month. It's probably that.
Yes. And then it's interesting because we teach this concept called Daily 4 inside of all of our education. We've been teaching it for years. And I would say one of the biggest things that I hear artists when I'm talking to them is they're worried about their being annoying.
Yeah.
They're like, I think what if so-and-so sees it and so-and-so sees it? And I'm like, joke's on you, like because of the algorithm, but even that, like you're your biggest fan. Like you almost need to be annoying. For me, whenever because now there's like so many ads and sponsors posts, it usually takes me, like if I'm scrolling on Instagram, like 4 or 5 times before I'm like, oh, I think I've seen this workout outfit or whatever, and then I finally click on it. But in the beginning, I'm almost kind of annoyed. I'm like, oh, sponsored. Right. And then I'm like, wait, that's cute.
Yeah. Oh, I need that. Yeah. Or maybe you like actually even forgot about it. And then it comes back around and you're like, oh, I was going to order that. And then something happened and I clicked off to something else.
Right.
So I think part of why we create that story for ourselves is we see all of our content. Like you're creating the content, you're pushing the content out, you see it on there, and it's really easy to be your own worst critic. And so you see everything you're putting out. Then you start to like play the comparison game and look at what other hairstylists are doing or other even creators are doing. And you're like, oh, I can't do dances like that. Or
I was just thinking that.
I can't do voiceovers like that or whatever it is, like whatever story you're like, that's not me. And that doesn't have to be you. Yeah. That's where I think a lot of creators, not just hairstylists, but creators in general get to this place where it's like you want to be doing like the trendy things. But if it's not you, like it's not going to resonate anyway, and it's not going to land.
It's going to come across inauthentic.
For sure,
like
and awkward.
Somebody was doing this like dancing, and I was like, oh, no, that is not who you are. And just because it's trending, like, don't do that shit. So that, like Crystal said, like, just because it's trending doesn't mean that you have to do it. I think you just have to find out like what's authentic to you in your messaging, and that's kind of what picks up. I find a lot of people will be telling me like, hey, you know, like I post all these pretty pictures and what was working is now not working.
For sure.
And I'm like, yeah, but don't let that be an excuse to not like evolve with what is working. And that doesn't mean you have to do the latest TikTok dance.
Absolutely. And I think for a period of time, like Instagram was just, I want to say like a closed platform for lack of a better term. Like everything was on Instagram. But now we're seeing SEO getting picked up inside of Instagram. So it's like, you know, you don't necessarily have to use hashtags anymore. Yeah. You don't even have to just like put keywords at the bottom of your post. As long as you're using keywords inside of your captions, that's actually going to pick it up for you. So a lot has changed over the last 10 years with Instagram. Like before it was just do everything inside of Instagram. But now we're seeing it open up a lot more with SEO. And so utilizing SEO and maybe introducing other platforms, right, like blogs, or another one that I feel like is a underutilized tool, especially for hairstylists, is Pinterest. So if anyone listening doesn't know this already, Pinterest is actually a search engine, and 80% of the users on Pinterest are women.
Did you know anytime I'm looking for a new hair color or a nail idea, I go to Pinterest? Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I wouldn't Google, like, what's the best spring color for nails?
Right.
My brain thinks to go to Pinterest.
Yeah, because it shows us visuals, and that's why it appears to be like social media, but in reality, it's a search engine. So this is a great place to also start using your beautiful photos that you're already taking and that you're already using to Instagram. Because like to your point, you know, people are saying, I have all these pretty photos that used to like land and they used to convert, and I used to get tons of leads from them. And that's not really happening anymore. So what needs to change? And it could be that you introduce another platform like Pinterest or blogging to start to capture some of the SEO that you may be missing if you're only focused on Instagram and not using keywords in your captions, but also in your bio. Like SEO is huge right now.
Yeah. And I also think too, because there is a lot of pretty work and a lot of good photos, for me, it's like I want to go to your Instagram, but I want to see how professional you are. So I want to see, do you have a landing page? What does your salon look like? Because there's a lot of people that can put out pretty hair, and then you're like, am I going to some backdoor alley in the middle of LA? And what the hell? How did I get here? I'm like, I'm willing to spend a lot of money on my hair. I'm even willing to travel. Yeah. But I want to make sure that it's somebody who's kind of like-minded like me, who has same like style and values and things like that, so that I'm walking into like a luxury salon and I'm getting that, you know, that experience that I'm looking for. So now for me, like I said, like if I'm trying to find a new business, I'll kind of dig in a little bit more.
For sure.
And find out like, okay, who are they? I don't want to feel like I'm getting catfished.
Totally. No, I totally agree. Like, I feel like just having a pretty photo, and even this drives me insane so we have NBR Education. So we train hundreds and we've trained thousands of hairstylists on not only the art of NBR extensions, but business marketing and sales. And so like Danielle said, we teach daily 4. And when I am coaching students and I'm like, hey, you know, I'm going to go look at your Instagram, and I can't find their Instagram by their name. Like it doesn't even have a name on the page, nothing. I'm like, are you a real person?
Instagram doesn't have a name?
No, like they don't have their first name. It might be like, I don't even know, like, you know, girls by whatever.
Something.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just like, have your first name.
Yeah.
Be a person.
Yeah. It's a mystery.
It drives me insane. So that's number one. Show who you are. Be a real person, because at the end of the day, like, sure, pretty photos are great, but to Danielle's point, like, yeah, I might like your feed. I might be interested in your business, but if I can't dig and get a few quick questions answered within I don't know, a minute of being on your feed or your website,
You're
like
gone.
I'm gone.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, this just doesn't, I don't think this is a real person. And I'm not going to spend 5 minutes trying to make sure that you are a real person.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go to the next person.
What's crazy too, though, like even like for a lot of businesses, like I still use Google for searches and things like that. But again, it's broadening to where like I will go to their Instagram, but then I want to see their website, and I want to go to multiple platforms and kind of see who you are, and then I make the decision if I want to do business with you. And the reason being, you guys, is like we almost have to be more particular because there's just so much information online right now.
Yeah.
There's so many people and so many small business owners, and it didn't used to be like that. So with a sea of so many people to find, people are getting more selective with where they spend their time and money with. So if you lose them in, 30 seconds of coming to their page, it's just because they know there's somebody else down the street that's offering the same service that gives them the information that they're looking for. So, and also too, I always say this when I'm talking to hairstylists, and I'll jump on calls and I'll go to their Instagram page and I'm like, okay, in the first like 30 seconds, I don't even know, like I kind of can tell you do hair, but I don't know if you also do lashes and makeup and bridal, and I want extensions. And I scrolled down and I finally saw one little extension post. I'm like, I'm not going to come to you. Like, I want to come to somebody who I know exactly what they're looking for. So be specific in what is your niche, inside of your marketing. So if you do natural colors, then you're going to, you're going to have all natural colors. If you do fashion colors, you do all fashion colors. If you do hair extensions, within like 30 seconds, I should know that you prioritize and specialize in hair extensions. So it's so important to like showcase yourself, but I also have to know what's your niche. Right?
Absolutely.
Like I have to know what you're looking for. So be specific in what is your niche, inside of your marketing. So if you do natural colors, then you're going to, you're going to have all natural colors. If you do fashion colors, you do all fashion colors. If you do hair extensions, within like 30 seconds, I should know that you prioritize and specialize in hair extensions. So like, who are you? And then want to dig a little bit more.
Yeah. And who are you? How do I book? Price range or pricing or a website to where I can find more information. It's more than just posting a pretty photo and being like, okay, see ya, I'm off of here now. You need to give your lead or potential client direction. They need to know how to book with you. They need to know where they need to go to find pricing. They need to, because we scheduled a permanent jewelry person, and I literally just searched permanent jewelry in Orange County because that's where we're located, and I found tons of permanent jewelry places, but like it was like the third one that I went to, and I was like, do they do private parties?
Yeah.
Check that. I found that out in her highlight. Do they, I found out pricing or the minimum spend, like everything I found out within a minute, and I was like, okay, cool. And then I reached out to her. First, everyone else was like, yeah, this is cute, this is pretty, but I like there isn't a link anywhere. I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna go on to the next person. So
make it easy for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is why just having pretty photos, you can't just post a photo and say, 2 rows of extensions or lived in balayage or whatever. You need to give them a call to action, directing them of what you want to do. And that can change, right? Like maybe you're trying to get people to schedule with you, so that's your call to action. Maybe you're trying to grow your Instagram following, and so your call to action is going to be more about like engaging. So comment below, or there's so many different ways that you can attract the right person or the person that you want to be servicing. Because this is the biggest misconception I see with new artists coming into the industry who maybe aren't used to marketing in this way.
Yeah.
They think that they're talking to everyone. Every single woman who wants to get her hair done, that's who they're talking to. And that's not correct.
Right.
Because you're not going to attract the clients that you want to be sitting in your chair. You're not going to be attracting the clients that you want to be doing NBR transformations on, or, color transformations on, or whatever your niche is. If you're not speaking directly to your target audience, you're going to start to attract people that, number one, maybe don't jive with you. Maybe you don't necessarily want to be doing their hair. But number two, they're going to be looking and consuming, but they're not actually really interested in what you're trying to put out there. So they're like, do I want to sit in her chair? Well, she does extensions, but I don't want extensions. Does she do this? No, she doesn't. Like, so it's a lot of confusion, honestly.
Yeah. It's almost like just like simplifying.
Yeah.
Like, I offer extensions. I like to do natural colors. And going back to how you're saying, like, you have to have a CTA. I think this is one thing that artists get, like, confused with. And it's always like, book with me, book with me, book with me.
No.
But you want a cold lead to go to a warm lead.
Yeah.
So the CTA can always be like, hey, follow my hair tips tomorrow or whatever it looks like, because there are so many choices.
Yeah.
People might not even, they might just think you're fun or you're cute and they start following you. Maybe they don't even want extensions, but they love your free tutorials, right?
Yeah, they had no idea they wanted extensions.
Then all of a sudden they break up with their boyfriend, and because you've been giving them all this value of like products to try and things like that, one day you pop up and you're talking about, your one row that you just got of Natural Beaded Row hair extensions, and they're like, oh, I think I need a row. Now's the time.
Yeah.
Right? So it's important your CTA can always be like, hey, follow along for more, still giving your clients potential value to kind of get to know you is like I said, it might take a cold lead to a warm lead. You never know like the conversion rate of somebody actually like booking.
Yeah.
And I follow a lot of people just because I like their fitness tips or this and that. And I very rarely buy from them.
Yeah.
And then one day they promote this special firming cream, and I'm like, today's the day. Today's the day I need that firming cream. And I've been following you for free fitness tips for a year.
Yeah.
And you sold me on this, whatever this cream is. So you never know. So you have to have very specific and intentional marketing other than just pretty photos as well.
Absolutely. But you also they need to get to know you. And so this is where it's important to showcase who you are and what you are attracted to, because most likely this person that you want to be sitting in your chair is someone who, number one, you want to be around, right? Someone who values the things that you value. If you love doing, 2 rows of NBR with natural lived-in color, that person's probably, you want that person to like that look as well. Otherwise,
Right.
They're not going to sit in your chair. And, getting your hair done is a personal experience. You're exchanging energy, you're touching this person. And so if you are around people all day who you're just like, I just can't connect with her. We have nothing to talk about. I dread when I see her name on my books. Like, that's not the type of people that you want to be around.
Yeah, we're far past like taking every single service
Yeah.
and working on every single person, right? There's so many people that you can connect with and vibe with that's on your branding and your marketing and things like that. And for those of you that just have an Instagram page, I would encourage you to kind of broaden, right? And maybe you're going to have either a funnel or a landing page. You're going to utilize Pinterest. I feel like you can't just do Instagram anymore. Like,
but don't get overwhelmed too. Like, I would say, like, if you have an Instagram, but you don't actually use it, like, let's start, number one, start using it.
Yeah.
Start posting videos, photos, introducing who you are. Start answering the questions that your clients ask you every single day in the salon. Like, you have no problem speaking to your clients all day long. It's like a known fact that, all hairdressers leave the salon for the day and drive home in silence because we've talked all day to our clients, and your clients are asking you, how do I style my bangs? How do I curl this?
Right.
What shampoo do I use? What do I do with that? Blah, blah, blah. Like, questions all day, and you're answering them without hesitation because you actually know what you're talking about. The only difference is we have this like big scary thing called Instagram or a big scary camera in front of our face, and we're answering the same questions.
Yeah.
So my advice, if you have an Instagram and you're not using it and you're not seeing the results in your business that you're looking for as a hairstylist, like, you just have to get over your fear and start talking into your camera.
That's true. If you're not utilizing Instagram, don't go out and get don't
try-
hire a web guy and this and that. And
No.
if you're not putting in the work, you can't hire it out, right?
Exactly.
Like, you got to start with where you're at. So if you're utilizing Instagram and it's working great, then kind of branch out.
Yeah. If you get to this like kind of plateau where you're like, okay, Instagram has been working for me. It's been working. It's been working. I feel comfortable. I do videos. I know who I'm speaking to. But now I'm just like seeing a little bit of a dip in my leads, or I'm not getting as many conversions, or I don't feel like I'm reaching as many people. Then maybe that's when you want to start broadening your horizons and incorporate like blogs. You started your blog like how long ago?
I started a blog 13 years ago, and it was so scary.
Yeah.
Because I'm actually like fairly introverted, but I had to figure out how to like make money at the time. And I'm like, God, what do I have to lose? And I remember I literally at the time put my entire desktop in my bathroom because that's what I recorded on. Like I imagine my entire Mac on my bathroom counter. And I didn't know how to edit videos. So for me, it was so scary.
Yeah.
Basically, I felt like I was doing a live. And I'm like, whatever. And what I think in the beginning, even though I didn't like seeing myself on camera, I just tried to be authentic.
Yeah.
Like I was like, hey, I have the crappiest hair ever. And I'm going to show you how I do and I have extensions. I'm going to show you how I do a braid with my crappy hair. I stopped trying to be so professional.
Yeah.
And I just was like, hey, I'm just going to get on camera, like you said.
Yeah.
And talk to this computer on my bathroom counter.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking to a potential client.
Right.
I'm going to talk about braiding my bangs and products I love and how I have homeless hair. And it started to work.
Yeah.
And I was terrified. And back then, nobody was really authentic. Everybody was like it was very
perfect.
super like professional. Like you couldn't get to know people. And so, 13 years ago, that's how I built my brand is I was scared and I just do it and do it scared. Right.
Yeah.
And as I've continued to put myself out there and I get on camera, now I'm very comfortable.
Right.
And I can teach and talk to students and I still get on lives and feel stupid, but I just try to be authentic and communicate a message. So you guys, if you're scared and you're like, I don't know what to talk about, number one, don't try to compare yourself to somebody else. I always see it doesn't land. You'll see somebody who's trying to be like somebody else and it's cringy. You're like,
it is.
You're like, oh, that's not you. So whatever it is that you like, share your passion about what you like, what you're struggling with, whatever it is, just be authentic. And that's what people will gravitate towards is they're like, I like her. Why? They're like, I don't know why I like her because she's being authentic, right? So keep that in mind when you're doing your marketing. You can't be anybody else but you. So just be you. And if you feel stupid or dumb, consistency is what's going to get you more comfortable putting yourself out there.
Yeah. And you have clients that love you. So that's just literally a story in your head. If you're like, I have no value to offer, that's a lie. You're literally telling yourself a lie to get out of doing a video or to get out of posting or to get out of marketing, which if you don't want to market, fine.
Then just lower your expectations.
Exactly. Like if you don't want to market, then you can't expect anything different inside of your business, period.
Yeah.
You can't hire it out because they're going to ask you I will tell you.
Okay, I'm ready.
I will tell you. Any time you think you're going to hire out marketing, whether you buy an online course, whether you hire an actual person, they're going to come to you and they're going to say, okay, well, tell me about your brand. Tell me about who you're speaking to. Tell me about how we're going to create this content. What do you want to see?
And you're going to be mad.
And you're going to be like, why am I paying you?
Yeah, well, I can choose myself.
You?
Yeah.
But the reality is they don't know you. They don't know your brand. So you have to figure this out for yourself. So I'm telling you, if you have clients in your chair already, you already know what to talk about.
Yeah. Stop feeling like you're not qualified to be your own marketer.
You absolutely are.
You are your best promoter. My daughter Bailey, she's in the music industry and I love her to pieces and she's amazing. She's 17 and she just thinks literally like tomorrow somebody's going to sign her.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Hey, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but you right now with where you're at, you're phenomenal and you eventually probably will be able to fill stadiums, but you got to start with where you're at right now." Right? So the ego really plays this role. Even for me in the beginning of my brand, I was like, I'm too awesome to put myself out there. I've been doing hair for 10 years and I know, and then I was like, I'm a broke ass bitch and I need money. So I'm going to go ahead and put myself out there. And what's wild is I started putting myself out there. And even with my hair skills, I was like, I'm not as good as I thought I was. Dang it. Like literally. And so as I started to put myself out there, take photos, do marketing, my work started to look better. I was like, oh my gosh, even my overall work, my colors, like I'd been doing hair for 10 years and thought I was awesome. And I was like, even my colors got better, my cutting got better. And so it's crazy. So I always have to say, like in the beginning, like you have this vision of like where you could be,
right?
But you have to start with where you're at. So even with my daughter, I'm like, you're good, you're not great. You have potential, but hard work will always beat out potential. So I'm like, if you want somebody to sign you, you got to start putting in the work, and you're not going to get signed until you get more reps.
Right.
Like you're not there yet. And it's really hard to tell my daughter that.
Yeah.
But in reality, I'm like, I'm not saying you're not good and you're not doing amazing things. But like you're not Ariana Grande. So just remember that, like, because I really genuinely think with a lot of artists, especially, I say experienced artists, but like artists that have been doing hair for like 10 plus years, they even almost have a more hard time putting themselves out there because it's like this idea of like I'm already really established and I don't want to look stupid.
Yes.
And you're like, but do you want more leads? And it's like, well, yeah. Okay, well, then you might have to get uncomfortable even though you think you are super established, right?
Yeah, because those artists, the artists that have been in this industry for a long time, like I've been in this industry this year for 20 years, which is terrifying. I'm like, oh my God, how old am I?
Oh, man.
It's almost harder for stylists like that because that's not how we built our business. That's not how we used to market.
Right.
You know, we used to like hand out business cards and walk around the mall and strike up conversations with random people who had terrible hair. Or sit around the salon all day.
Oh my God,
and
the
then
walk-ins,
just wait for people to come in. I remember being terrified. Like
so
the receptionist would be
terrified.
like, "I booked you a color correction at 4 p.m."
Oh,
I'm
no.
like, "Oh no, what is gonna walk through that door?"
And you're almost like, I'd rather just sit here.
Yeah.
I don't want the money. Thank you. That's so true. Do people still do like the sit around and wait? Do
I don't know.
What I mean, well, I guess for like a haircut, some people.
Yeah,
It's funny at my salon when we do get walk-ins. I'm like, we're always like, did she just walk in?
no, that literally happened yesterday.
I'm like, how dare her?
This lady just walked in yesterday, and you know, she was asking, and I told her like, oh, you know, this is what we do, and she was actually trying to just buy hair color from us. So she left, and then my coworker was like, I just don't understand how people still
walk in.
do that.
Yeah, yeah.
She's like, she looks like she was very well put together. She had great hair. Like, you would think that she wouldn't have just walked into a salon.
Go online.
Yeah, anything
like,
else,
yeah,
but no.
that's
But
funny.
I think I do attribute some of that to like we are in Pacific Coast Highway.
Maybe she
in
just saw
Laguna,
it. Yeah.
like it's kind of like a fishbowl. It's all windows. So I think there's that aspect. But yeah, it is surprising when people do.
But that's how you
walk
used
in.
to. That's how you used to build your business in the beginning of the hair world. You would just
Back in the dinosaur ages.
I remember like when my first salon. There were some days I would sit there all day, all day, and I'd maybe get a men's haircut.
Yeah.
One time I got a pedicure. That was exciting. I'm like, I don't even think I'm licensed to do this, but thank you, Debbie. I will do this pedicure.
Well, I will say though, this is off topic, on topic for the industry, but this is why like everyone talks about California and how much our laws around employees and all of that. But that's why these laws were established, because these stylists, you would sit there all day. You would be like, I literally remember as I was building my book of business, I was expected
You're required
to be there,
yeah.
but I wasn't getting paid.
Yes, same.
And so that is something where they're like, you cannot do that now.
Yeah,
this person needs to get paid for their time. And I was looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh.
That's I remember I got my first salon I ever worked at was in Utah. And I remember I had a shift every week, and I remember I got a paycheck that was like $67.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I worked like 80 hours. I got $67.
I'm in the negative right now. What's happening?
That was the only salon that I ever did commission. Did you know that? I moved to Vegas, and I was like, oh, hell no, I'm not doing that. And I was like, I'll walk around Target for 3 hours till I find somebody, and then pay booth rent and go, at least I got one client in the door, you know?
Yeah.
So it's wild, but it used to be that way. But you guys, you have to evolve with the trends. So if what you're currently doing is not working, then you have, if you want to make more money or you want to grow your brand, then you're going to have to get uncomfortable. If it's, I always kind of get to this realization with something I'm unhappy with in my life, and I'm like, okay, if it's not working, then I have the power to change it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just kind of being a victim, and you're sitting in this place of blaming the algorithms.
Mm-hmm.
There are still people out there that are making great money doing hair.
Yeah.
But they're following what's working. They're looking at the analytics. They're looking at the trends. They're trying different things. They're being authentic. And you never know what's going to grab, right? So it's just being very intentional with your marketing. But really, if you're not marketing at all, then we can't help you.
For sure.
Like we do so many trainings and we try to deliver so much value, and there's still going to be that person that's like, did you post today? And they're like, well, no. And it's because we get so inside of our heads that we tell ourselves this like really wild story that keeps us from doing absolutely nothing. Or one of the big things I hear is, I don't know what to talk about. I'm like, just get on YouTube and like type in anything about hair and you'll have 75 ideas.
Right. Yep.
So even that, I'm like, that's wild. You don't have anything to talk about, nothing. But I believe it's because they think, well, I did a video on that 6 months ago.
Right.
And you're like, nobody saw that. Like,
Right.
And if they did, do you know how many times I'll do the same video but just change the title? Like
every Friday.
Every Friday. Literally, all I do is curl my hair every week and title it something different.
Yeah.
I'm like, get more volume with your bangs. Get more, or how to
Do
style beach waves. How to get rid of sweaty hair. I'm literally curling my hair in every single video. I just do something a little bit different, and I'm going to communicate it a little bit different. So keep in mind, if you are telling yourself a story, just go. Just go. That's been like my biggest thing lately is I'm like, just start. Just start something. Start marketing. Start putting something out there and give it some time to pick up momentum and then say, okay, this is working. This is not working. This is working. This is not.
And the beauty is, like, on Instagram, guess what? You have analytics. So you can start to see what people are reacting to, what people are engaging with, and you can literally track or look at it every single week over a span of like 90 days if you want, and really find out. They're so specific, even down to the post. You get to see what performed well, what didn't perform well. So again, just being authentic to yourself, putting yourself out there, and then that's the other huge thing is measuring these things. Because again, like Danielle said, like just go, stay up with the trends, but that doesn't mean you have to learn the latest like TikTok dance or whatever dance that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about speaking to the person that you want to sit in your chair. And if you're already on Instagram and you're like, hey, this is working and maybe I want to expand, then look at blogging, look at YouTube, look at Pinterest to start to spread your SEO further and get more reach on different platforms, because maybe your target audience isn't only on Instagram. She might be an avid YouTuber.
Right.
She might go to YouTube for all hair tutorials. She might, I feel like I like to read so I can just peruse and get the information that I want. Versus other people love to watch videos. And so it's really important that you kind of like spread your wings and put the same information.
Right.
We're not saying, do a video on this, then an Instagram post about that, and then a blog post about something else. Use the same content. Like Danielle said, every Friday, she styles her hair a little bit differently. Essentially, she's just curling it, but she's talking about it a little bit differently. So she'll have a video about it. She'll have a tutorial about it. She can make a blog post from it. Then we can pin those things on Pinterest. So when people are searching, it actually comes up in like written form. It shows a beautiful photo, and then they have a link to watch the video.
Yeah, that's one of the things we teach inside of our Daily 4. I think we have a training or a webinar coming out on that. But it's essentially, you want to do a text, you want to do a video, you want to do an audio. There's so many different forms of communication that I love videos.
Yeah.
Like I joke around. I'm like, I can't read. I can, but I just prefer to watch videos. That's how I consume content the best. So you kind of have to do a little bit of everything, because I might not read a big blog post, but I might go in and catch one of your videos. And I'm somebody who I'm going to pay thousands of dollars for my hair.
Yeah.
So you guys, the reality is, if you're scared, do it and do it scared. The reality is, if you're that person that's super uncomfortable, come to NBR Education. But we are passionate about what we do. We have a program. It's an academy that we've seen so many artists go through it because they need more than just another hair class. They need more than just another certification, right? It really, you can't just do pretty hair anymore to have success. It doesn't work anymore. And you have to have a business foundation for yourself. Even if you're in a commission or a booth rent, like, you have to know how to run and manage your business.
Absolutely.
So that is something that we are very passionate about. And again, if you guys want more information, you can go to NBR.education. We have in-person classes on NBR. And then we also, like I said, we have an academy that's more of an online program that comes with in-person classes. So every week we're going to try to add more value for you guys. Sometimes I'll have like a student in, and I like to interview people on their like stories and things like that.
Fun.
But I dragged Crystal in here today because when I originally started this podcast, it's different from most podcasts because I almost treat it like a training. So if you love it, share it with your friends. Again, we're going to put all the links if you want to find out more information about NBR Education. Obviously, you need to just get your ass moving. Come hang out with us. I promise we're not scary, and we'll help you get results fast in your business. So
yes, come join us.
Anything else you got for him?
No, the other thing is just community, honestly. Everything that Danielle said, but also community, because when you're making big shifts in your business or your life, you oftentimes feel alone, and we don't want you to feel like that. We are here to support you and help guide you and help you get the results that you're after. So join us in education.